My father and mom passed away in 1998, 99. They had 46 acres up here, which is part of the property now, that they deeded me. So Mr. Miller, Ezra Miller, had some land, 80 acres, which is the property south of Mud Creek there, that he wanted to sell, and I bought it. It didn't join me, but it was close. And then this property that we're on now came up for sale, and I bought it. And then Neil Page, who has a piece of property up there next to the 46 acres that my dad had, he wanted to sell it, so I bought it. And then Mr. Miller wanted to sell some hill land, which is back in this area, so I bought it. So all of a sudden, you know, I said, hey, I've got a pretty good little tract of property here, and it's beautiful property, but I still really didn't have in my mind a firm idea as to what I wanted to do with it until I read the newspaper story by Tom Smith, Times Daily reporter. And in this newspaper story, Tom Smith said that the Soil and Water Conservation of Franklin County was looking for property, some land, for an outdoor classroom. You know, I've got 44 acres, and it's all natural hardwood. It's got mountain oak. So the rest of it is either in wildlife ponds or plantation pine or planted hardwood. Probably half and half planted hardwood with plantation pine. And I made it a point when I planted the hardwood to identify the species that I wanted. And I was very particular with that. For example, I wanted to shoot for like 10% sawtooth oak. The deer love, they almost sit around and wait for the acorns to fall. So I have probably 10 species of oak. As all this happened, I started having ideas, and one thing led to another, and we've had many, many events here. I consider education really as my number one crop here, because children consider this place as theirs. We have families and children walking the bird trails daily or fishing in the lake. Church revivals, we've had weddings, lots of weddings. Our most popular would be our military Veterans Day program. In working with the local American Legion post in Red Bay, we got some military tents, which became classrooms, and in addition to the buildings I have. And I bought military vehicles. We got veterans that agreed to come in and serve as our teachers. So we started about 7 or 8 years ago with the Veterans Day activities, which was before we usually have this in October, before Veterans Day in November. And we've averaged around 1,200 children per year that come out and ride through the forest in the military vehicles, in addition to listen to the veterans talk about their experiences in the military.
A lot of the parents come also, and you know, it's just, and the teachers, of course, and if you ask any of them the best part, it's always when they go through the woods, and it's a way of incorporating appreciation of nature with education on the veterans too.
You know, I guess my second objective would be wildlife. We have 2 5-acre ponds, and we have a 12-acre pond, so a total of 22 acres of reclaimed wetlands. Right now, when you see them, we've just planted millet and all the different crops, you know, that ducks prefer. So we've just planted the ponds. They're fields now. This is this is Mud Creek here. It heads up about 7 or 8 miles up here. You know where the Burnout community is?
Yes.
Somewhere up in that area. And it has a combination of runoff in addition to springs that are located up there. So what you're seeing right now is mostly spring water, very little runoff.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes in the fall when I need water in the ponds, nature doesn't cooperate and it doesn't rain. So this gives me the flexibility to drop those gates. And if I drop the gates, then I force the water back up, and you can see the elevation of that pipe up there. I can raise the elevation of, to the top of that standpipe. We have like 7 miles of bird trails that I maintain, and people come in here and view the non-game bird species.
What gave you the idea, Johnny, to establish your birding trails in these areas?
Well, I knew the land was fertile and I knew it'd grow hardwood well. And once you put a canopy over wet land, you reduce the temperature and it's cool, and that's where insects swarm.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can feel the difference in the temperature here now.
Oh yeah, much cooler than.
And if you were an insect, wouldn't you want to live here?
Yep, absolutely.
And if you have insects, you're going to have birds. I'm trying to avoid the Alabama Forest Commission, without question, is the reason I became interested in the treasure forest, and I want to thank them for all they've done to help me put this property together and do what I'm doing with it. And certainly I want to thank them for their help and prepare this land and do what I had to do to qualify as a treasure forest. And certainly I want to say again that it's an honor to be the recipient of this year's Helene Mosley Award. This property is used. It's all about the children, educating them on what a wonderful world we have, and enjoy it and protect it. And you can't expect the children to do that unless you teach them about this wonderful world and show them how to protect it. And I'm very pleased and very proud to have been a part of this, and look forward to working with kids for many, many more years.